Alright, this is Spider-Man Team Up 101. Spider-Man and Batman together at last. Or together again, considering issue 33 was also Spider-Man teaming up with this character. This comic was a viewer request, and I'm not sure why this issue specifically, but it is a notable issue. This is both Jim DeMatteis' first issue on Spider-Man Team Up, which also makes it his first time on a Spider-Man book. And it is technically the start of his run on Defenders, which I have done a lot of videos on and praised. This is actually the first issue in the Defenders Epic Collection that collects the start of his run. Although I would argue, if you're going to read the whole thing, before this you need to read Avengers 209. I didn't recommend reading this Defenders run in Epic Collections. They miss out two other Spider-Man team-up issues, 119 and 126, which are essential, and then another 7 or so that you could make a strong argument for. Or maybe the viewer requested this issue because they wanted to see me squirm when a character I call Batman is canonically guilty of vehicular manslaughter. Well, here is my solution for that. This is Batman, the Matthew Broderick version. Sorted. He is having a press conference because the IRS are inspecting his company and he gets attacked by a woman, and Spider-Man shows up to save him from this woman. The woman is claiming that Matthew Broderick killed her, and it turns out that it is a robot, but it is a robot modelled after Batman's ex-girlfriend, Jennifer Grey, who he killed in one of his driving mishaps. You'd be surprised to look at this character's history and how much of his backstory involves multiple car crashes. And now someone wants revenge on him for the murder of Jennifer Grey. We get the backstory up here on how they met on the set of Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and they started dating. And then Matthew Broderick got drunk and drove into the wrong lane and head first into another car, killing the people in that car. But he was okay, and he only got fined $175. This backstory was all established earlier on in the Steve Goebbels run. There's this really sickening bit here where they compare Batman getting his girlfriend killed through drunk driving to Spider-Man letting the burglar gun. This is completely different. One of them is a careless crime that robbed other people of lives, and one is a selfish mistake that came back to haunt him. The thing is, Spider-Man, he doesn't really matter much to this story. He is in it, but this story is a lot more weighted towards Batman. Spider-Man He is just along for the ride, which is a poor choice of words considering Matthew Broderick's rides end in him killing people. They go and they visit the set of Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and they find out it is no longer abandoned. They seem to be making a sequel without Matthew Broderick, and it's filled with smelly hippies. And then the smelly hippies attack them, and this one's guitar is a gun. This comic is getting a 7 thumbs up. And the hippies, they are robots because, you see, Jennifer Grey, she did not die in the car crash. She simply retired from acting and started blaming Matthew Broderick for everything. That is why you have all these clickbait articles nowadays saying, "You will not believe what the sister from Ferris Bueller's Day Off looks like now." You see, she was only crippled in the crash, so there will be no more Dirty Dancing for her. And what happened was Batman's dad, he paid her off to avoid a scandal. He paid her to disappear. And this bit is ludicrous. With the money, she became basically a supervillain. And she built robots to get revenge on Batman. I'm not sure if I really like this story. It might be because this is all paving the way for Batman's incredibly lackluster death in eventual issues of Defenders. But I also think maybe it is vindicating Batman far too much. It takes away a personal loss he had for a big mistake, and without her dying, it's almost like it is excusing his drunk driving, and the story itself doesn't come down anywhere near hard enough on Batman for making the decision to drive that night. And then making Jennifer Grey into a mastermind villain with robots. It takes this bit of backstory that added some real darkness to Batman's past and transforms it all into cheesy superhero stuff. Maybe this would have been better if, instead of resurrecting Jennifer Grey, you had one of her parents or her brother or sister or something be the one who is out for revenge. Jennifer Grey, she does continue to show up in Defenders until Batman's death in issue 106, which is all tied to this plot line. Batman takes her to get psychiatric help, which doesn't go well because there is no such thing as good psychiatric help in comic books. Then there is a backup story by Mike Barr and, weirdly, Steve Ditman of all people. And it stars Batman, and this actually picks up on the main story, and it explores some of Batman's feelings of guilt a bit better than the main story did. He's considering quitting being a superhero and stuff like that. But then he saves a crippled boy from a fallen building, and this all inspires him to keep at it. Kinda dopey and corny, but They neatly set up some of Batman's feelings and emotional issues that will be developed further in Defenders. I like this run on Defenders, but I didn't think I really liked this issue much. I don't think it is terrible. It's not a bad comic, really. It just takes some big missteps. The guilt is one of the things that should drive Batman as a character. Not a pun there, really, not a pun. The guilt, it should strengthen him both as a hero and as a character. But this washes away most of the guilt by revealing Jennifer Grey survived and his dad paid her to disappear. I also didn't like in general what DeMatteis does with Batman throughout the run, which only really gans towards killing him off. I recommend this run on Defenders, and this issue is part of that, so I recommend this, but I didn't recommend it as an issue by itself. I have already given it 7 thumbs up for the guitar gun, so why are you still here? It's over. Go home. Go.